Hey guys, and welcome back to the FFF HQ. Question for you. Have you ever used spaghetti squash instead of pasta? I know I have. I love the way that it adds extra vegetable goodness and it's so versatile. You can add sauce, you can mix it with pretty much anything. So today I'm going to show you how to cook spaghetti squash 3 different ways. We're going to cook it in the Instant Pot to be super trendy. We're going to cook it in the oven 2 different ways, full and cut in half, so you can get all the info on how to cook spaghetti squash. So let's dive right in. So because we're going to cook spaghetti squash 3 different ways, I have 3 spaghetti squashes. So we first have to prep them. So we're going to prep the whole spaghetti squash for the oven first. So literally all you have to do is poke it with a fork. You want to put some muscle into it so you really get through that skin. Easy peasy, there's really no prep for this kind of squash. And then you want to put it right on your baking sheet. And number 2 is also going to be for the oven, but we're going to cut this one in half. So you actually want to cut your squash in half short ways, because this actually makes long strands. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it works. So give it a cut and watch your hands. And we're going to prep the one for the Instant Pot the exact same way. So we're going to cut it in half horizontally. And again, just scrape out those seeds, trying to reserve as much of the actual squash as you can. And for the Instant Pot one, we're going to cook this one later, so I'm going to put it aside. And now we're going to prep that one for the oven that we cut. So you just want to put it cut side up on your cutting board. And we're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil into it, rubbing it all inside and at the top. And do the same with the other side. Then you want to place it cut side down onto your baking sheet. Make sure both are cut side down. Now we're going to go bake these in the oven. So we're going to roast the spaghetti squash in a 400-degree oven. The ones that are cut in half will probably take about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And the one that's whole will take an hour to an hour and a half. So you just kind of want to watch and poke it as they cook to make sure they're nice and tender. So the difference between the two would be that roasting whole is obviously easier because you don't need to cut anything, you don't need to drizzle any oil, you just poke it and go. Whereas the other one takes a little bit more, cutting, you have to scoop the seeds. But I prefer roasting in half because that oil really gives it some more flavor. And I also find it's a little bit less mushy than when you roast it whole. It kind of steams it, so you get like a more neutral flavor, which is good sometimes, but it's also a little bit mushy and sometimes the strands aren't as nice and tender. So for our Instant Pot spaghetti squash, you want to put your trivet into your Instant Pot and then add 1 cup of water. And then your squash is going to go cut side up into the trivet. You may have to kind of squish it in there depending on how big your squash is. Mine fit perfectly. And then we're going to put the lid on. Make sure it's set to ceiling. And we're going to do it manual pressure for 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, we are going to test this spaghetti squash. It's looking pretty good. Just give it a poke and it is nice and soft, so this is ready to go. If yours is still hard, you can cover it and you can cook it on high pressure again for a few more minutes. So now you just want to transfer it to a plate. Kind of just have to go in there with a hot pad, or you can use the tongs if you have those. And transfer that. And now you can see, so when I dump some of the water out, I like to dump it right back into the Instant Pot. If it's a little bit warm, stick those hot pads right back on. And now you can just pull your strands out. And now we are ready to check on our oven spaghetti squash, and it is looking good. So I want to poke it, and you can see that the skin is being pierced with a fork on both of them, which means they are both ready to go. So now we just need to scrape out all the strands from our halved ones. So we'll put those aside. They're a little bit warm, so watch out. And we need to cut the full one in half. Just grab a serrated knife, and if it's a little bit warm, you can get your handy dandy oven mitt and just give it a nice cut. It should be very easy to cut as it's nice and soft. And this is the part when you want to scrape out the seeds. So you can see that we have some of the seeds in the inside there. So you just want to get your spoon and scrape them out. So once you have all those seeds scooped out, you can see these are nice and ready to go. They're a little bit softer like we talked about because they're steamed, but it's a little bit of an easier prep and cook if you cook your spaghetti squash whole. And now we are ready to address our cut in half one. So you can already see that it's a little bit darker, and that's because it caramelized with the oil and also being face down and cut. So this is my favorite way to cook spaghetti squash just because I really like the flavor. And it's nice and tender and soft. And there you have it, spaghetti squash cooked 3 different ways, 2 different ways in the oven and 1 way in the Instant Pot. Which way would you try first? So if you tried cooking your spaghetti squash one of these ways or any other ways, please leave a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear how you cook it. I'd also really appreciate a like and a thumbs up of the video. I have a link to the Instant Pot spaghetti squash in the video description below. And make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm delivering healthy and delicious gluten-free recipes, product reviews, wellness tips, health tips every single week. So go enjoy your spaghetti squash and we will see you next time. Bye for now.